Hi everyone, this is Arkady Frekhtman. I'm a New York City personal injury trial attorney, and today I wanted to do a video to educate everyone about something that's going on in New York, and it's probably happening in other states too, and it could really harm injury victims because there's a type of, I don't know what you want to call it, like a scheme or a scam or a mob or a full-blown mafia. But basically, I found out about it by doing a consultation with a prospective new client. And it was actually a YouTube viewer, like you, a viewer. And so the young man called me. He was in a car crash. He got rear-ended. He had serious injuries, including surgery. And just from chatting with him, he said that he had an attorney handling it and that the attorney was telling him that he should settle the case for like maybe 40 or 50 or maybe at the best like $80,000. And I thought, like, why is he saying this to you? You know, and then I asked him a few more questions to delve a little deeper into this story, like what's happening here. And I found out that, you know, he was in this crash, he went to the hospital, he goes to a physical therapy office, and that physical therapy office then refers him to an attorney's office. And that was a red flag right there, because I know that a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, when a physical therapy office tells you to go to a specific attorney office, that attorney office has a relationship with that physical therapy. And that attorney office is essentially paying for clients, right? The attorney is not supposed to be paying to get clients. That's unethical and illegal, but it happens. Especially in a big city like New York, the attorney's office might pay like $2,000 or $3,000 to the physical therapy facility. And in exchange for that, the physical therapy facility is then giving clients to that attorney. Then the attorney goes, and what he does is he bills the client, right? So he's paying money, let's say $2,000, whatever it is, to the chiropractor, the physical therapy office to get the client. But then, you know, that's not enough. He then bills the client like $1,000 or $1,500, and he puts it as a no-fault fee. Now, no fault just means that the car that an injury victim is sitting in, that insurance, that auto policy, is going to pay for all your medical care up to $50,000. There's not much an attorney has to do. Maybe fill out a no-fault form. It's like a 2-page form. A secretary could fill it out in 5 minutes. How could handling that, you know, justify a bill of $1,000 or $1,500? Well, the way they do it is because they have to get back the payment that they made to get the client. And in the same way, then when the medical office, when the physical therapy office prepares the medical records, which is, you know, of course they're going to prepare medical records. You're going to have like narrative reports. You're going to have medical records. That's just a copy of your medical records. You should get that for free, or under the federal law, I believe you can get that for like $4 or $6, or even if they're going to charge you copying costs, the most they could charge you is like 75 cents a page. There's laws on all this, right? Like the high-tech law, that's the federal law. But anyway, but what they're going to do is they're going to then say, the doctor charged me like $1,500 more for a narrative report. So now I have to prepare a narrative report, right? And I have to pay for that. So they're really like screwing over the injury victim. What they're essentially doing is they're doing everything in their power to bilk the injury victim, right? Get as much money as they can from the injury victim, as opposed to what I try to do, which is to get money for the injury victim, right? My whole goal is helping injury victims and families and getting them as much justice as possible. But these scams, what they essentially do is, you know, try to screw you out of as much money as possible by charging you these fees for narrative reports, which are false, by charging you for no fault or PIP, personal injury protection fees. And then, you know, they're paying to get your case. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing they do is then if you need any kind of funding, they'll send you to a funding company. And then the funding company will give, let's say, like $3,000 or $5,000 to this injury victim. And in exchange for that, they're going to charge a lot of interest. Now, the interest never stops running. Now, a lot of reputable companies will do funding, sure, that they're funding companies, they exist, but they'll cap it. So, for example, if you borrow $5,000, the most you ever have to pay back is maybe like 10 or okay, 12, or worst case scenario, 15, like triple the interest. But these companies, I looked at this contract that this particular gentleman had, and it would never stop running. So the 5,000 could turn into 30, could turn into 50. I mean, what if the case goes into litigation and it has to be litigated for a while? And then all of a sudden, you might have an appeal. I mean, it could happen. An appeal could delay the case by a year or two. I mean, that 5,000 could turn into like 70, and it's just crazy. So that was something they did. So then, after doing this consultation and explaining all this to the client said, you know what, I understand what's happening here. This is unfair. The other thing was that the car that hit this young man had a $500,000 insurance policy, $500,000. And the driver of that car, I believe, was a professional, like a lawyer, a doctor, I think maybe a doctor. So, and I know the company, the insurance company. So the chances that it's only 500 is minimal, right? And this lawyer is telling him, I'm going to settle your case for 50, maybe 80. Now, why would you want to settle a case with a $500,000 insurance policy on a client that already had a major surgery for only $80,000? It's because you're getting so many cases from these physical therapy facilities, right, where you're paying them $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it is a pop, that you don't care. You're just like a chop shop. You're just like dialing for dollars, settling it for whatever, selling out these injury victims on the cheap because you'll just get more, right? But who's being hurt? It's the client, because if he settles his case even for $80,000 after legal fees of a third and after all these crazy expenses, he's probably going to get like, I don't know, 30, 40,000 in his pocket, if that, plus with the funding, because all that's coming out of the settlement. But if he gets 500, well, now the legal fee is much higher. The legal fee is about 170, but he's getting much more. He's getting, over 300,000 in his pocket. And then the chances that that professional, I believe it was a doctor, has excess or umbrella, especially with that company, because that, if you know what you're doing, that company always, I mean, not always, but like 99% of the time writes excess and umbrella policies. So you're probably dealing with a 500 with like a $2 million excess. Now, if you file a lawsuit, and by the way, no lawsuit was filed. This accident happened a long time ago. No lawsuit was ever filed. If you file a lawsuit on this case, if you work it up in court, it could easily be like a $1.5, $2 million case. Plus, the person is still getting medical care. They might have additional surgeries. Then it could be like a $2 million case. Now, instead of settling the case for $80,000 with the client getting I have to do my math, but let's say $80,000 times a third, right? So that's about 26. So even without all these fees, the client would be getting like 50,000 in his pocket. Now, if you settle it for $2 million, you're talking about, a third, 660, but 2 million minus 660 as the legal fee, you're talking about like 1.34 million, almost 1.35 million for the client, right? So what's better, 1.35 million or 50 grand? It's like crazy. I just can't believe this is happening. So that's why I was so upset. So then I explained all this to the client. We had many consultations, like we talked every day. He had a lot of questions. Finally, he said, you know what? I see what you're saying. It makes perfect sense. So I'm going to, fire that attorney. I'm going to come over to you. So he comes over to me and I tell him, look, the only thing you have to watch out for is that once, I send the letter to that attorney to seize work and that, we're taking over and to transfer the file to us, he may start calling you, right? Or he may use others to call you. And that's exactly what happened. The attorney, I think, didn't call him. I'm not sure if he called or his office called themselves. But the physical therapy office starts calling this poor client saying, why did you switch attorneys? But they're not supposed to do that. They're the doctor. Just treat the patient. Why do you care why he switched attorneys? You see what I'm saying? Because it's all a scam. That's why they're calling him. And, I looked up this physical therapy office. Their website is one page. It's made by Wix, and it doesn't even have any doctors' names on it. It doesn't have any information. And then the funding company, the one who gave him the $5,000 with the interest just running forever, like 5 could turn into 100,000. They start calling him. Why did you switch attorneys? Trying to pressure him. But I told them to watch out for that. Don't speak to them. And so I'm happy to help this person. But I thought it's such a lesson for other people. So keep a lookout for that. Be careful because, it's a scam. Like basically what they're trying to do in every which way they can is they are trying to, steal money from the injury victim through the funding, through the by selling a case. Like a doctor's not supposed to sell a client to a lawyer. The lawyer paying to get the case, then the lawyer trying to bilk the client through these no-fault fees, as well as the narrative reports. And then also the most important thing is that they're never going to go to court, right? They don't even know where the courthouse is. I don't think they've ever been to a courthouse. They're not going to file a lawsuit. They're not going to go to trial. And, on a 500 policy, they're going to try to settle for like 80. And that's just completely wrong. What you want to do is you want to get the full 500. You want to find out if there's excess and umbrella, because if there is, a surgery like this client had is worth maybe like 1.5, 2 million. Plus he may need, like I said, additional surgeries. And I want to get him to some real doctors so he can see what he really needs. Some credible doctors, not some, money doctors. So it's just crazy what's going on out there. I just want to educate everybody so you don't fall victim to this. So I hope this was helpful. Let us know what questions you have. Feel free, if you need a consultation, just text me, 347-566-9595. That's exactly what this gentleman did. He texted me. I had a nice chat with him. And, at first he said, you know what, I understand, but I'm going to stay with this attorney, which is, fine. I explained to him, that's fine. It's your choice. If you need my help, I'm happy to help, but I'm not, I have enough work. I'm busy as it is. But then he said, look, given everything you've explained to me and this whole thing, I have to make a change. I have to fix this because this is my life. I don't want to go through this. This is just not fair. And then I thought I would do a video just to keep it general without revealing obviously any names or anything, but just to see the tactics so that you see if it's happening to you, you could know how to avoid this, because this is not the way it's supposed to be. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Let us know what questions you have, and we are here for you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.